So in the last session, we have seen the PPTs of the, I believe all these PPTs we have seen from day 5.5. So today we will be doing the programming to understand all this things. Similarly, I just want to create different projects itself. That's why for today also, let's create a project for, what is it, day 6 or day 7?
Day 7.
Okay, it's day 7. JDK 1.8, open perspective, and here let me import file system from okay, then maybe yes, that day 7. Select all, just remove this PPT and this one. Okay. Package. So we have seen this programs A01 for protected access modifier. No. I think last sessions which we had. Let me open the sheet quickly. So we have seen this access modifiers in detail, encapsulation, what it is, object class, object cloning, Java array, wrapper classes, call by value. Theoretically, we have covered this in 5-10 minutes. So today we will be starting doing program on this concept itself. So so this is nothing but it has to be in the package A. So what I can do is let us create another pack, new package as pack ACK, and we will be moving our classes in that pack. Sorry. So my pack is moved. So class A got moved here, and if we print, it will be just hello. So I'm not executing this. Let's see what is A01. Again, it is in the pack class, and access modifier is protected. So we have seen clearly. Just remember, whenever private is there, for everything it is no, and only within the class it is yes. If it is public, everything it is yes. Default is yes within the package. Protected is yes within the package and for the subclass also. But outside package, no. So whenever the package term is coming, where you can see private, default, protected, outside package, you cannot access those access modifiers. Okay, those members, whether it is a class, those classes. So this also I will be moving it to our pack, and that error got resolved. And if it is okay, this is just a product class. We will be seeing where our main class is there. From main class, we are going to call all this. See, this A also is having void message. This A01 is also having void message, but nobody is calling, and I cannot run this. So let's see in our coming program, we'll be seeing A. So now for class A02 also this message is there. Now it is public. It can be available outside. Let me move this also in the package. Now this is our first class. Let's see here. What we are saying is import pack A, which means I want to import this class, and the type A is not visible. The private access modifier is accessible only within the class. So and we are having this class A also, which is created here, and on the top of this I want to wait. Let me do one thing. Can we this is just a class, there is no modifier present here, and in this class the field a.data is not visible. Data is here. Okay, let me remove this error first. I don't want to import it, that class. I don't want to import this class A. Let's consider we are having this class A only. It is having two members. One is your data member, which is int of private type, and second is your message function, which is again private. I have created the object. This object is created in another class, that is simple class. Now with the help of this object, which is object of class A, from this instance variable, what I want to refer, I want to access this data, which is private. I cannot. Here I am getting compile time error. You can see this arrow. Why this arrow is coming? Because it is clearly saying field data is not visible. Secondly, obj.message also when I am doing, since it's private, again I am getting compile time error only. So that was the objective of this program. We'll be moving to next one. Now here for our class A itself, we are making the constructor as private constructor, but we are having so many A class. So let me make it A1, 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 and A1. Well, now whenever you guys, you will be hearing something about design patterns. And in design patterns, one of the popular design pattern is singleton design pattern. So whenever you are creating singleton design pattern, you might have heard that, okay, make constructor as private. So if you are making constructor as private, you cannot create the object from the outside class. This is how we will create object A equal to new of A1. Now, when I am trying to click here, it has to go here, but it is private. A1 is different class and simple is different class. From this class, I cannot call the private members of other class. You can see for private what we have written. Yes is only within the class, within the package, outside package. If it is subclass also an outside package, no. Which means again compile time error we will getting. We cannot access or we cannot create object for those classes whose constructors are private. So real-time implication will be there, as one example I have told you in case of singleton design pattern if you want to implement. When we talk about class cannot be private, okay, or protected. Class can be nested class, so we will be seeing nested class or inner class later. But whenever we are talking about private, we are talking about the data members only, the functions and the variables which you are defining. Fine. Moving to the next one. Okay. In this class, what we want to do, package my pack, and from there I want to do something. Okay, so let me create another package known as my pack. That is first thing. And second thing is, let me close all other programs. You can say close others. And sometimes if you are difficult to find where it is, so you can say show in package explorer or project explorer. It will keep your cursor here on the file when you want to locate in this structure. I'm moving it into my pack. Okay, this got result my pack. Now I'm saying pack dot star. This pack is there. Let me see what the pack type is not visible. My pack type is not visible to him. Okay. I don't see any reason, but let me see. Import. What else? Pack. Okay, now it created link. Well, there are two lines, so I will delete it. So Control D, if you do, it will delete one line. So now pack, this is visible. Now all this class got imported here. And when I'm doing pack.a, what this guy is saying is the type is not visible. It's not required. Already we imported here. I can delete it, or I can just comment this out. Okay, now see here. We are inside one package, that is my pack, and we are trying to access the class which is inside here, which is inside another package. And when I'm trying to create object, it is giving me error, compile time error. Why? Because inside A, if you open, we have not defined anything. We have not defined it is private, protected, or public. So by default, it is considered as default. So for default access modifier also, you cannot access outside the package. See, for default also no and no is there. And if you don't use any modifier, by default, your compiler will add the keyword default here. Your compiler is going to add the keyword default if we are not writing. And that is the reason here also it will be obj, like default obj, and yeah, that compile time error you are going to get. So we cannot access the different depending upon the level of access for those classes outside the package. So few examples, these are simple example to show that. And these things are known as scope: public scope, private scope, protected scope, or default scope. Fine, let's move back to our default package. The next program is this one. No, already we completed that. We need to be here. So package my pack. Okay, again I will put it into the my pack then. This error got resolved. Now what we want to do is the class B. In the class B, what we want to have access, protected access modifier. Let me see the class B. So this is my class B, which is having these things as default. Let me see. So this B is also from the my pack. I'm moving this into my pack. Okay, so for protected access modifier, this modifier will be accessible within the package and outside the package only through inheritance. So when we say this thing outside package by subclass only, by subclass means by inheritance, and this is protected. So y, and it is an outside the package. So here we will be getting error. Consider this is our A only. We don't have B class. If I'm having A only, sorry, wait 1 second, my bad. Say suppose I'm having this B class. We have created object of this class B, which extend A01. I'm extending this, and this one is what? Protected. This one is protected, and when I say obj of message, where it is going in here for the protected access modifier. Can you see? Oh, let me close this one. Yep. So this is outside the package. What is outside the package? Your class A01 is outside the package, and since it is protected, so I can access it. What happens if I remove the keyword protected? And if I say, can you see here message as error? What it is saying, the method message from the type A01 is not visible, which means here in this class A01, still our message is there, but now the visibility is not there. I cannot use, I cannot call that message from this object, even though it is inheriting. And that is what we mean by protected keyword outside package. We cannot access this. And if we want to run it, so Control Z, protected, and you can see error got resolved. Let me run it. See, hello is coming. So you have seen hello, we have printed, it is coming. So you are already in the my pack, and the pack is the another package which you have created, and in these two packages when you were playing, that time once we have seen when it can access, when it cannot. Okay, let us move to program number 5. Now here in case of method overriding, we are seeing we are having simple class, and this is the object of my simple class. In the simple class itself, I am having a message which is extending class A. Let us say this class A as A2 and A2. Okay, no package is there, so I'm not moving it anywhere. Now what is happening here is this is protected. Okay, this method is protected, and from the child class I am trying to override it. So what is happening if here when it is protected, so default modifier is more restrictive than protected, that is why it is giving you compile time error. Let's see what this is saying. Override A2, multiple markers at the line cannot reduce the visibility of the inherited method from A2. So what is the visibility of this? This is protected. And what will be the visibility of this if we haven't done anything? This is what? This is default. So default is having more restriction than the protected access modifier. That's why your compiler is saying I cannot see here the second message. It's I know you guys will be facing difficulty to read the message. I am reading loud for you. The second cannot read the visibility of the inherited method from A2, which means here the visibility is high. From high visibility, I cannot reduce the visibility to low here. That is the meaning. What happens if I am going to make this as, say, protected? See, error got resolved. Got it? Control Z. Okay, let this be protected and let this be default. Save. Can you see? If in the parent it is default, in the child class you can make it protected, but vice versa is not possible. You cannot, no. What we have seen in Java, upcasting is automatic. Downcasting is explicitly we need to do. Likewise here also. When it was protected, you cannot make it default. But when it was default in your parent class, you can override that function by making it as protected. So I hope this is clear. Okay, but feel free to pause me. We'll be moving to next one. Again, this is example of encapsulation. In encapsulation, in the theory we have seen, typically we used to make POJOs, plain old Java objects, and then we will be having getters and setters. So I created student class. I made a member, this member as private, so that directly if I want to access name outside from outside class, I cannot access this private. That is, we have learned very well, correct? But then why you have written this as private if I cannot access this? So if you want to access this from outside the class, you can have a getters and setters. This is known as getter and setter. Here return type is public, means this method get name is public, which is what returning, which is returning the same name. Okay, and if you want to update the existing name from any instance variable of the student, this earlier in detail what this will do. This will always refer to the current instance of the class, any object. If it is S1, it will become S1. If it is S2, it will become S2. If it is student 3, it will become S3. So this is how we used to achieve encapsulation in Java, and then you can have name, ID, address, everything. Okay, we'll be moving to next one. If I want to test it, So what we have done, and this student class is encapsulated, and I want to just one field be encapsulated, and we want to test it. So we created object for student class. That will take you where? See, it is taking me here. I don't have any no argument constructor which I have defined, but still, if I put my control here, means control plus your arrow, and then if you do declaration, it is taking you to this class. Okay, here what you are saying, set name. Okay, let me see whether it is going. Yes, it is coming to here only, which means it is setting name. It will set name as Vijay, and when you say get name, it will take you there, get name. If you want to do open implementation, also it is going to be taking you there in the main program. Okay, do you want me to run it? All of us know it is going to run, Vijay. You can save the time of running. Okay, we'll move to next one. So we have learned in the object class, we are having a method known as clone method, and clone method will be used for object cloning. And let's use this example, student. Well, yep. So what I explained in the theory is this new keyword. Writing this new keyword is always costly operation in Java in terms of memory. In my student class, we are having attribute as roll number and name. And I created one constructor, two argument constructor, which will take what? Which will take roll number and name. And this implements clonable. Let me open the clonable. Can you see here? Big description is given there in the package java.lang, and interface, nothing is written in the interface. From where this class is coming? Right click, maybe show in package explorer. See here in the Java lang package, having clonable class. Can you see this? rt.jar, runtime.jar. In this jar, which means it is system defined library, in the system defined library, in the lang package, what is the package? Package is lang. How all these packages we learned now, correct? This com.sun. When I say java.lang, which means Java is the main package, lang is the sub package. And in that package, you can see so many classes. Out of this, hundreds of classes, there is a clonable interface. Classes and interface will be there. But this interface is blank interface, which means it is, when I mouse over on this, you can see something is written. What is written here? See, you can see this Java documentation, and for any class, for any interface, this is known as marker interface. There is a message which this interface is giving to your JVM, that boss, whatever class is going to implement this interface, they want to clone the object from the object class, from that thing. So it implements clonable, and here I am having okay, let's talk. This is my main class. You are having public object throws clone not supported, so there is a clone method. Okay, because this is interface, you don't have any method there. You explicitly trying to know write this clone method for you so that you can clone super dot clone. When I say super dot clone, what is the super class? Object is the super class of all the classes. Can you see? Public class object. And if you remember, I told you earlier, no, in your object class, you will be seeing the methods. What methods? You will be getting hash code as one method. Then you will be getting equals as another method. And all this Ramayana is written there. And you can see in the object, you are having clone method already defined, which is throwing clone node supported exception. So at this moment, at this phase, don't bother about this exception and all. When we will be learning exception, at that time I will be explaining you in detail. But this object class is having all these things: clone method, toString function is there, and what notify function. So if you remember from the theory, notify function, notify all functions, and all these functions are there. And you're having these functions, but no body, which means you are going to write it in your child classes. This function obviously is having body, you can see. Okay, wait method and all. Well, my objective was simple. I will close this one. So I was explaining that this clone method we are using from the object class itself. And what, and this object is what? This is a return type of this method, which means when I will be cloning, when I will be calling this method, it will return me some class type object. Now here, let's come to here. I can do it simply student S1 equal to new of student 101 Amit. Again, if I want to create the same instance with the same data, I can say student S2 equal to new of student 101 Amit. But when I am doing new 2 times for the same copying of the data, this is not effective operation. Instead, what we will be doing is, okay, our intention is just to copy. So why not call the clone method of object class itself? So we have written this clone method, and when I'm going to call this, it is going to call this clone method. This clone method we have already seen. And when I do SOP of roll number dot S1 dot name, S2 dot name, it will be giving me the same output. Okay.
So here one question: why we create 2 objects for similar things?
No, so objective for writing this program is to explain you that no, when you have several objects where you want to copy data from one object to another, it's better use clone. Instead of, sometimes you want to instantiate the object with some default value. Correct? Say suppose typically what you write in terms of primitive int x comma y comma z, or maybe x equal to y equal to z equal to 10. Sorry, no, x comma y comma z equal to 10. In one line I can do like this. But say suppose if I want to make the value of x, y, z as 10. In primitive, you won't be facing an issue. But when it comes to object, and if I want to create objects, say suppose the 3 objects with the same value, that time this new keyword I need to use. Say suppose if I want to create constructor. A classical example can be one example can be, this is some class where some mandatory attributes are there, which the value is not going to change, or by default you want to keep some values there. So when by default you want to keep the value, uh, that time you can
So
do like
at
this.
that time we can use our first object as well, right? We can get the value of role and name from S1 object only.
Yes, that's correct. So can I do something like this? S1 comma S2 comma S3 comma S4. I won't do S2. I will do S5. So now 4 objects got created, but problem is for all these objects so that I can do some different operations here. Later their value will change or something will happen to them. Okay, or it's say suppose it's some looping I want to do in a loop. I want to iterate something and want to do some operation for those objects. So in this case, this will be considered as S1 equal to new of means it is calling constructor 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And every time the new value has been assigned. But when we are doing this clone thing here, that time we are avoiding this new keyword, this memory. So overall explanation is this. Maybe what I can do is maybe some real-time scenario I can think of, and maybe next session I can give you example where in our programming we actually do this.
Okay, no issue.
Okay.
Okay.
So here simple objective was not to use new just for copying the value. I don't think we have learned string. So when we will be learning string also, that time we will be knowing string is immutable in Java. Internally it will manage the string pool and all those things. So string buffer, string builder also we will be using, because string is also a class. And internally string will also do string of S1 equal to new of string. That is internal operation. But let's not clutter our mind with that. I'm moving to another program. Maybe in next session I will come back with the answer where in real time we can just clone thing. So it was our program number 18. Student 18. Okay. It was there. Now let's go to array. Let me close all others. Array is very simple. In the theory we have seen the index will start from 0. Index will be going to the length minus 1. So say suppose if my 5 which means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be there, and I can put value as this is how I can initialize it. The element at 0 position I can make it as 10. At first position at 0th index, this is how we will read it. This will be the second position at first index, and the last element will be the last position at n-1 index. So, and this is for loop. I hope we have learned about the for loop earlier. So this is the condition, and condition is a dot length. Since this is array, and this a dot length will give me automatically the length of this array, which will be 5. So 5 times it is going to print in your program, and this is known as single dimensional array, where you are having just one open and close bracket. if I am going to run this program, simple 20, 30, 70, whatever is there, that value is going to come. Can I do like this? No, I need to assign something to this. So can I keep it like this? Now what's going to happen if I'm going to run this time? What will be the output? Whether it will be 10, 20, 40, 50 or 10, 20, 0, 40, 50 or something else. Any thought? I have not instantiated the third element. So if we are not instantiating, which means the default value it will take, but there will be something which will be stored here, some memory it has to allocate. So default value it will put Java always, correct? Fine, we'll be moving to next one. So here we just declare and instantiate. Here in this example, we declare, instantiate and initialize. Doing this is known as declaration, that I declare it as no int of array. Doing this is known as instantiation. I instantiated it, and then putting the values into it is initialization. In the previous program, I initialize it later. So declaration, instantiation, and initialization is what we will typically do, and then we will perform operation. Obviously, if I'm going to run this, it is going to print 33, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not running it. What we are printing, SOP of A of I, means first it is going to go and search in this loop A of 0. In the A of 0, 33 will be there. A of 1 will be 2, 3, and A of 4 will be there. And the condition is 4 is less than 5. Correct. When it becomes 5, 5 is less than 5. No. Then the loop won't run. So this loop is going to run 4 times only. Okay. Next program. Can we pass array to the method? Yes, we can do this. This is my main method, and in my main method, from my main method, I'm just calling this main function, and in the main function, I am passing the array. When you want to pass the array, that time you need not to mention this braces. Okay, if you are just putting A also, it's understood that you are passing this entire array. And now I'm having int of array, and I'm doing some operation here. So let me run this. This was the program to find which is the minimum value in this array. Okay, do you want me to explain the logic? Here it's straightforward. Everything is we are doing by this condition. Say suppose if this is not good programming style, if there is a if condition or there is for condition and you are not writing any curly braces, so it will always consider first line as the line of execution, and then it will end it braces, means your compiler will do it. So when I say this if, you can see only after if condition we used to have this braces. Are you seeing this braces? At class level we will be having, at function level we will be having, in your static initialization block also you have seen, instance initialization block also you have seen. So this way for loop is not good. Right? Whenever you will be doing coding standard, so I will say okay. Do this. Come here. Still 3. So what it is doing is, it is comparing. So first it is thinking 33 is the minimum. 33 is the minimum. Then it is seeing whether 33 is greater than second element 3. Yes, it is greater than second element. Then assign that value to the min value. Now my min will become 3. Next time it will say, is 3 greater than 4? No, it won't come inside this loop. Again, 3 greater than 5? No, it won't come inside this if condition. And your this for loop will keep on moving till the time this if is completed. Once your for loop is completed, then only your SOP method is being generated. So this was a simple program for finding the minimum value in the array. Okay, now let's talk about multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array is like this. Declaration, instantiation, we will be doing. We can say it as X, Y, Z, maybe 3-dimensional array also we can do. When you want to do some calculation over matrix, for matrix calculation, we will be doing 3-dimensional array. And so for multi-dimensional array, when I want to instantiate it, I can do like this. I can declare it like this, and then I can come and I can put value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, the way we have done earlier. And there are 4 ways where we can write the syntax. Write the braces first, then the variable, or after the data type, put a space and then this braces and the variable name, or put space once and then the variable name and the braces, or one here and one there also you can do. All varieties, but do remember we need to have one space in between anywhere. Typically, or majority of time, we used to do like this one. See how here we are doing string arguments of. Okay, so 1, 2 is there. What is going to happen if I'm going to run this? 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. So it's simple. Means 2-dimensional arrays. Simple. At the first position, you are saving 1, 2, 3. Then second position, you are saying 2, 3, 3, and then 4, 4, 5. And since it's 2-dimensional, with I and j, with this I and j nested loop, you can now print out the value of these things. How you want to read it? If I say the first index, so index 0, 0 will be 1, 0, 1 will be 2, and 0, 2 will be 3. Now your I is completed in this loop also, and how we are going to read also. The same array you can see here. 0, 0 is 1, 0, 1 is 2, and 0, 2 is 3. Don't get confused. Maybe you might be thinking, Sagar, here 2 is there, but here you are writing 3, 3. So is it 3-dimensional array? No, it's 2-dimensional array only. Okay. We are passing 1 value, 2 value, 3 value, and we can pass more values also if needed. Fine, I believe this is simple in C, C++ also. We might have learned it. My intention was to show you that, okay, in Java also you are having arrays, single dimension and multi-dimension. Okay, pause me if you need explanation, or I will be moving to next one. So what is the class name of array? Let me directly run it. So you can see class name is this something it will generate randomly, mainly for array, and you will be having a proxy class which will be created. Proxy class means it's not the actual class. It will be proxy class, and for different array you will be getting these things which you won't understand. What is this? Some symbol and I, and this is not your normal bracket symbol. This is some other symbol, and I is there. So here we have not printed array. We were just trying to see what is the class name. You can write like this, or if you want to write something like this also you can do. What is my object? Array dot get class dot get get name is there, get simple name is there, get type, get annotation, get class. So you can see all things, get package, get resource. So all these are predefined. If there is subclass also, you can say super class. Okay, we just want to get name. So this is how, if you want, you can write this way also. In case you're finding it difficult to know what is done here separately in this two statement. Nothing, whatever was this array uh, type, from this array we want to see which class it is coming from, which class. Actually it is coming from the proxy class. If I put the mouse over whenever you are getting confusion, always do reads all these things. It will help you. If I mouse over here, what this get name will do, it will return. So the Java documentation for predefined classes, predefined utility methods are in detail and given. So it's good learning curve whenever you are having problem. Okay, what this system will do, Java Lang system. What is this out is doing? Read this. From this out object is coming. Then what is this println is doing? Okay, fine. Moving to the next one. Copying a Java array. Copying from one, putting into another. There is a function array copy. We just use this array copy function, and here we need to pass copy from, copy to, and 07. So when you click it here, it will give you object. This object means this is array 1, this is array 2, and from which position to which position you want to copy, what will be the length of the new array. So all these things you will see for all the native functions which you will be having. See the keyword native also, one new keyword you are saying. Detailed documentation, you can see it's coming from here. This li code word and all. If I mouse over, you'll be seeing the same things written here. So if I want to copy the Java array, use array copy. So I want to copy D, E, C, F, and this big array into another array. Oh, I can do it. Caffeine. Why caffeine? So 0, 1, 2 from the second position. This is second position to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this will be 0 at 7. So from here to here, I want to copy. So from second position to from second position I started. Want to copy from the will be placing it from the 0th, and the length will be 7. So started from 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 indexes it will copy and will be putting it into the new array. Okay, so there are many functions which we can use in the system class itself. Like since from the system class you are using out and println function, likewise from the system this array copy is coming. Okay, moving to next one. Matrix addition, multiplication, division, all these things you can do very easily. Matrix A, matrix B, I created matrix C, and in this matrix C, okay, this is where you have defined the size also. I don't want to go with the size. And the problem with array, what we have learned is the size of array we cannot increase it dynamically or at the runtime. Fine. So outer loop, inner loop, Cij equal to C of ij plus B of ij. This is going to add this to this to this to, and you will be getting the result. Okay, 268, 268, 336, 8, and 10. That is what we were expecting. So you can do matrix multiplication, transpose of the matrix, anything in the programming is possible. So this example of wrapper classes, very important concept. Now, what are wrapper classes? We have seen in the theory, like a primitive, want to convert that into the object, want to do certain operation, that time you will be doing that time you will be using the wrapper classes. And there you will be seeing the concept of unboxing and auto boxing. Now, say suppose in this example, I'm having a int, a variable which is of integer type, that is int, this is primitive, and to do certain operation in the real time, when I am parsing some JSON, want to map it with my some POJOs, and that time you will be seeing it. So if I want to get the value of this 20 and I want to convert the int to integer, then what I will be doing, I will be integer dot value of a. So whatever value of a will be coming, and this is the predefined function in your integer class. If I open, this is how it will do. We are passing here any number or value that it is taking and then putting it, and then you are getting integer of array. Okay, and then once this is converted, then I can say j equal to a plus I plus j. This is known as conversion of integer to int to integer. This is known as auto boxing. Auto boxing means auto means automatically. Now on your behalf, compiler will be writing this code, integer dot value of a. If I'm going to run it, I'm seeing 20, 20, 20, which means this is 20. This I, this new integer I, this is also 20. You got the value, and this j equal to a automatically you are doing, but you are not doing, your compiler is doing. What your compiler is doing is your compiler is internally calling this method only, integer.value. And in the similar fashion with string, you will be seeing whenever you will be dealing with currencies, that time you will be using double or float. Okay, moving to next one. Yep, so auto boxing is what we have seen. And this is the example of unboxing. Auto means automatically it will do it. For unboxing, we'll see. Now what happened here is I am having integer, okay, which is a wrapper class. And when I say new of integer of 3, which means it is calling one argument constructor, and it is just returning me, value. The return type is this. So you can see I'm passing int, and what I'm returning, I'm returning this class object. So return type will become this. And say suppose if it is an employee or any user defined object, again it will be class type. So this is primitive type and this will be a class type. You are returning class type. So now the value of a is 3. Now if you say int I equal to a dot init value, here you want to convert integer into int. So this is okay. In your integer class, you are having this function init value, which will do nothing. It will just simply return the value. Value of what? The value of whatever will be there for that integer type. So a dot int value is converting integer into int. But if I just do int j equal to a, automatically internally your compiler will be writing this function, and this is known as unboxing. Fine. If I'm going to run it, still I will be getting output as 333. So it's just a concept, auto boxing, unboxing, all possible in Java. But you have to so either you will do or your compiler will do. Okay, let's come to the next one. Then we are having one last program. Oh, call by value. Okay, in the theory we have seen call by value. So I'm having a class with operation. What will be the output? I just created one object. Here I am saying object dot data. What is my data? Data is 50 at this moment. Now I'm changing it. How I'm changing? I'm changing by passing the value. And after changing, do you think it should be 50 and 600 or 50-50? What should be the output?
Is this call by value or call by reference, Sagar?
So that is what means. I'm asking, what is your understanding by seeing this? Java supports only one thing.
Okay. It supports call by value, is it? I'm not sure which supports.
So no, just think aloud. What is call by value? Means from value you are calling. What is call by reference? And
Call by reference we can change during runtime. And yeah, and value we cannot change during runtime. So okay,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
only call by value is we are doing. Call by reference is, say suppose if you are changing reference, uh, what is reference? Reference variable is the object.
yeah,
I don't want to change the reference in Java. What is this? 500 is the value only which we are passing. Correct.
yeah,
So, yeah. So if we run this program, we will be getting
yeah,
50 and 50 only.
yeah. Because you are trying to change and it's not allowing.
Yes.
Okay. In our development, right, there's also an option for call by reference, so that we can modify during runtime. So just
Okay.
okay. So in case if you want to change during runtime, how is it possible?
We'll figure out that one. But before jumping to that, can I do something this dot data here? And in case I do this dot data, is it going to change something? You got the difference?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when I so we don't want to happen like this. We don't want 50 and 600. We want 50 and 50 only to intact it, so that that is the reason why we will do call by value. But if you are if you want to update the reference, which means the whatever the value of that instance at that moment, that will be changed, which means it was already 500. It is coming as 500, and when you say this dot data, which means you are now talking about the instance variable, correct? Now
Yeah.
for that instance, it will become 500 plus 100, then you will be getting 60. Okay, we'll be moving to next one. This is last one. I believe this was what I did previously.
Yeah, yeah, same thing.
This means OP, the object. So changes will be in the instance variable, and we don't want to do that. So in case of call by a reference, original value is changed, and if we make changes in the call method, here what we are doing here, you can see here we are passing here as value 500, that is an integer. Here you are passing object itself. I'm passing object, and then this object is there. So my entire object is passed, and then I'm doing the change. So that is the example of call by value in Java. It's 5:12, I believe. Let us continue our next session, because typically what we used to do is for 15 minutes we used to do theory, then again that theory gap will be there. So in the next session, whenever we will be meeting, I will just share the topics which we are going to cover. We will be covering simple things, means we will be clubbing 2 sessions. Java recursion, we'll be seeing strict-f, Java doc I have shown you. Java line command arguments, object versus class, loading and overriding. Majority of things we already covered, so these theories are there, and so this is your documentation covered, slash and double strike. Command line argument also we will be seeing, and whatever you're passing here, this argument is known as command line argument. So we'll be seeing that, and I believe this also we will be able to complete in the next session. Apart from this, because very small programs, 4 to 5 programs are there, maybe we can start this also in the next thing. We'll be learning string. String is very important in Java. So what is string? Why string is immutable? How you can compare, concatenate, make substring? What are the methods available in the string? Then what is string buffer builder? How they are different from string? And what is the difference between among these two? And how you can create immutable class, like string is immutable. If you want to create immutable class, this method is very popular in string, and the tokenizer is what we'll be seeing. So those 2 topics will be doing in the next session. Fine.